So, this movie starts in a jail, where we see the main character, Arthur, Joker, who is very weak because he has not been provided with proper food and water. Here, we also find out why Arthur was imprisoned. He had killed 5 people in public, for which he was punished. Although he killed 5 people, the way he did it made him famous. At that time, he had fully transformed into the Joker, wearing the iconic clothes and makeup, which gained him immense notoriety. A TV film was even made about him, and many fans of the Joker admire that film. These fans believe that Joker Arthur is innocent and that he did a good thing by killing those 5 people, claiming they were all bad individuals. They argue that those people had tormented Arthur, which pushed him to take this drastic step. However, from the perspective of others, he is a criminal because he killed people. Arthur has been in jail for a long time, and no one knows how many more years he will be imprisoned. He hasn't even had a court hearing yet, which would determine his sentence. Arthur finds no peace. He is distressed about the mistreatment he faced, as he was often bullied by others. In jail, he continues to worry about how the police treat him, as they also make fun of him. One day, Arthur's lawyer calls him for a meeting, and he leaves. While on the way, he notices a girl who is looking at him intently. She seems equally captivated by him. After a moment, she playfully points at him as if holding a shotgun. This girl's name is Lee. However, before they can speak further, the police take Arthur away to meet his lawyer, who is preparing to fight his case. While his lawyer advocates for Arthur, she also seeks to exploit his newfound fame. Since Arthur has become well known, she brings along some reporters to interview him. She explains that these reporters will ask him a few questions, and he needs to share about himself. Arthur is reluctant to do this, as he dislikes reporters, but he feels pressured to cooperate with his lawyer in hopes of getting out of jail. During the interview, he is asked several questions that he finds uncomfortable. Although he responds to them, he feels anger building inside as his painful past is revisited, which troubles him deeply. Nevertheless, he answers all the questions honestly. The interview serves another purpose. It's a way to evaluate Arthur's mental health, as many believe he is crazy, a madman who killed 5 people. The interviews will be ongoing to monitor his condition. After the interview, when Arthur is taken back to his cell, a police officer leads him to the musical room where everyone is playing music. Here, he finds Lee again, and they are both delighted to meet each other, having been eager to connect since they first locked eyes. Arthur asks Lee why she is in jail. Lee explains that she had a fit of rage, set fire to the building where she lived with her mother, and tragically, her mother died in the blaze. That is why she was punished and is now here. Hearing this, Arthur bursts out laughing loudly. Because it was his habit, Lee asks Arthur, "Why are you here?" Arthur replies, "What are you talking about? You don't know how I ended up here. Everyone knows that I killed 5 people, and that's why I'm being punished." As time goes on, Arthur and Lee continue to meet and eventually become friends. One day, Lee suggests that they run away together, but Arthur refuses, saying, "No, I can't do this. Those people will shoot me." Lee has developed feelings for Arthur and genuinely wants to escape and spend the rest of her life with him. Arthur's refusal makes her feel a bit upset. At that moment, while they are sitting in the theater, she expresses her frustration by setting fire to the back of the theater. When the people inside discover the fire, they start to flee, leaving only Lee and Arthur behind. Instead of escaping, they stay and share their feelings, and both express their love for each other. Not only does Lee fall in love with Arthur, but he also finds himself in love with her. Afterward, they pretend to run away but are soon caught by the officers, who drag them away. Instead of worrying, they both start laughing, signifying their shared connection. Arthur enjoys the moment so much that he laughs like a maniac. When Arthur is brought back to jail, Lee manages to sneak into his cell with the help of a guard, and they spend another year together. Lee expresses her desire to see Arthur in his Joker form, promising to bring makeup with her. With her help, Arthur transforms into the Joker, and he thoroughly enjoys the experience. The next day, Arthur's lawyer visits him again for another interview, this time bringing a prominent reporter to assess his mental condition through questions. Arthur is reluctant to discuss his past because it disturbs him. However, the reporter persistently asks about his past crimes, including the time he killed his mother. This line of questioning angers Arthur, disrupting his earlier calm demeanor. Eventually, Arthur's punishment comes to an end, and he is released from jail. As he exits, he sees his interview being broadcast on TV. Following the interview, Arthur is brought to court, where he finds his fans cheering for him on the streets, eager for him to gain his freedom. They believe that Arthur deserves to live a free life because the people he killed were deserving of their fate. In the courtroom, Arthur sees Lee among his supporters, and they share a moment of happiness upon seeing each other. As the hearing begins, the opposing lawyer stands up to argue against Arthur, stating that he committed a heinous act by killing 5 people on a public train. Arthur's lawyer counters, arguing that Arthur has lived a life of solitude and that he is innocent at heart. He explains that Arthur didn't initiate harm but acted in self-defense against those who had tormented him. The opposing lawyer insists that regardless of the circumstances, Arthur is a murderer and should be punished for his crimes. The judge, after hearing both sides, decides to extend the hearing date. After the session, the judge approaches Arthur's lawyer and warns him that if he continues to defend Arthur in this manner, they are likely to lose the case. The judge urges the lawyer to find a better strategy to secure Arthur's freedom. Later, when Arthur is returned to jail, his lawyer visits him to discuss the case. Arthur tells her, "She is a wonderful girl. I love her and I trust her." The lawyer warns Arthur, "What do you really know about her? She might be deceiving you. Because, you see, she said that my mom and dad have died. But the truth is that her dad is a doctor, and both her mom and dad are alive." Arthur also discovers that Lee had not been punished. She had deliberately paid to be disguised as a prisoner so she could meet him. One day, when Lee comes to meet Arthur in jail, he confronts her about this. When Lee admits, "Yes, you are absolutely right. My mom and dad are alive, and I lied to you. I kept this secret that I deliberately paid to be disguised as a prisoner. I didn't mean anything wrong. I just wanted to meet you." She continues, "Because I started liking you, and I want to free you from here. After you get out, we can live a happy life together. What can I do? It's not my fault. I've watched your TV film about 20 times. I've fallen in love with you. No matter what happens, I will get you out of jail." Arthur, touched by her words, happily agrees to her plan. The day comes when Arthur is in court. Today, his neighbor testifies on his behalf. She states, "I often met with Arthur's mom, and on the day he was beating her, I witnessed everything. I was so scared that I moved to another city to save myself. But when I learned that Arthur was in jail, I felt terrible and came to testify for him. He has always been wronged. He never wanted to harm anyone. Yes, when he was beating his mother, he was on the path of the Joker. I realized that this is not Arthur. He is truly a Joker. Therefore, I believe that all the murders were not committed by Arthur, but by the hidden Joker within him, forced out by the actions of others." After hearing this, Arthur feels a surge of courage. He becomes so overwhelmed that he stands up in front of everyone and shouts, "I want to fight my own case. I don't need a lawyer." With that, he dismisses his lawyer and steps away. Lee is thrilled by this decision, feeling that the Joker has done the right thing. The day arrives when Arthur is presented in court and his lover is outside, waiting to hear the Joker's final decision. Arthur now appears as his own lawyer and fully embraces his identity as the Joker, wearing the character's clothes and makeup. He sits confidently in the courtroom. As the hearing begins, the opposing lawyer, who has worked with Arthur for many years and knows him well, stands up to testify. He can describe how Arthur behaves when he transforms into the Joker. He states, "I witnessed everything when the Joker killed those people on the train. We both boarded the train together." After hearing this, Arthur, now as the Joker, stands up and says, "All right, tell me, when I was killing them, who did you actually see?" The witness responds, "I saw the Joker inside Arthur, the one committing the murders." Hearing this, Arthur snaps and begins speaking out against the police, declaring, "These people, they don't need any witnesses, no evidence. They take anyone, guilty or not, and throw them in jail." If the police had come at the right time that day, they would have seen who was really at fault. Then, I wouldn't have lost it either. Arthur continued to blame the police. With this, today's testimony concluded, and the court set a new date for the hearing. But when Arthur was taken back to jail, the police, angered by his words, beat him severely to teach him a lesson. Afterward, they threw him back into his cell, bruised and battered. 2 days later, on the next hearing day, Libby shows up in Joker attire, hoping that Arthur would lose. Meanwhile, Arthur, as the Joker, appears visibly defeated. Finally, he says, "Yes, I admit it. I've done terrible things and I'm ashamed. I confess to my sins." Hearing this, Rico becomes furious. She storms out of the court with her entourage, unwilling to see the Joker give up and confess. Because he admitted his guilt openly, the case was effectively closed, and it was now time for his punishment. Arthur, now back in his normal form, begins to laugh hysterically. Seeing this, the prosecutor, enraged, attacks him. Arthur, however, doesn't stop laughing. His laughter fills the courtroom, and then suddenly, a huge explosion rocks the room, devastating the court and injuring many. Amidst the chaos, Arthur escapes. Outside, amidst the rubble, he sees a fan dressed as the Joker who recognizes him as the real Joker and helps him. This fan puts Arthur into a car and attempts to drive him away. However, the car soon gets stuck in traffic, and Arthur, feeling trapped, jumps out and starts running. After running a long distance, he spots Lee. Arthur approaches her and says, "Let's leave this place. Let's go somewhere far away and start over." He talks about creating a world of their own, far from the chaos he's left behind. But Lee replies, "No, this can't happen. The person I loved isn't you. I loved a fearless, brave man. I didn't know you'd give up so easily. You disappointed me by admitting your guilt to everyone. I wanted you to be strong, but now I realize I can't spend my life with you. You're a coward. And do you know? I'm going to be the mother of your daughter. I thought we'd start our life together soon, but I don't want my daughter to have a coward as a father." With that, Lee walks away, leaving Arthur standing there, heartbroken. Arthur, shattered by her words, doesn't know what to say or do. Lost in despair, he stands there, paralyzed. Moments later, the police arrive, arresting him yet again. Back in jail, a rival prisoner comes to visit Arthur under the guise of wanting to sing with him. But he attacks Arthur with a dangerous weapon, leaving him gravely wounded. Arthur falls to the floor, bleeding heavily, his eyes closing as he loses consciousness. He lies there, unmoving. Is this the end of Arthur Joker? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment box. With that, this film comes to an end. Thank you for watching.